Hey, this is Patrick Lunn, and this is Connect the Dots. I'm trying a new sort of feature for the YouTube channel, and I've got myself and my co-presenter, Ollie.
Yo, 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 yo!
Yeah, and we're going to try and talk about just some general kind of comic book news, comic book issues, and things in the whole kind of nerd community as a whole. So
we can't actually talk sometimes. That's the thing.
yeah,
We're not good at reviewing.
we are reasonably good at reviewing. We've done a website and we've been going for quite a while, but we've never quite really got the YouTube thing going.
This point, really.
No.
I'm really sorry, by the way, for anybody who's listening or viewing or whatever. I do appreciate you all tuning in and stuff like that, but I'm sort of playing The Last of Us at the same time as having this discussion, so you might hear some gunshots going off. I'm not hick, don't worry.
Yeah, we thought we'd just give this a go to kind of introduce ourselves. So, I'm Pat. I've been collecting comics for too long. Must be hitting.
I can agree there.
Must be hitting about a decade now of comic book collecting, and I have got a mighty stash.
You never really told me, while we're on that subject, of how it was that you started even reading them.
Actually, that is a good story. That's kind of interesting. So, when I was 7, I got flu, really bad flu, and would get obviously really down because I lost school and crap. So my auntie came around and brought the X-Men movie, the first X-Men movie, and I remember it because it came with an edition where you got a little comic book that went with it, giving like an origin story sort of thing.
Right.
So I watched the movie and was like, this is really cool. I've never seen anything like this. And then immediately read the comic book for the first time, and it wasn't great. I'll be honest. It was like a dramatized comic book version of the movie. It was pretty.
They're never ever good at films. They're never ever good at films.
But it was the start, and then I found where there was a comic book shop in my hometown, Wigan, basically like a section in Waterstones, and picked the first ones which looked good to me. Which, if I remember right, was. Oh god, it was some terrible stuff. I think I picked up like I'm just looking now at my collection. It might have been X Factor or.
Oh right, okay, yeah.
I think X-Men Fairy Tales, one of the first ones, which is fairy tales like The Wizard of Oz and things like that, done with characters from X-Men. It's not worth a read, but it was a start. Again, it was a start, and then. Like, out of a weird set of coincidences and things, I ended up going to Florida, and I went into a comic book store there, and I was like, I'm really getting into comic books, but I don't know what to get. And the guy there was like, Civil War's new. Have a read of this. Have a read of Civil War.
That's soon for you.
Yeah, and I had no idea any of the characters in Civil War, but once I started reading it, and I got into all Mark Millar's writing and the amazing art style by McNiven, I was hooked. And then bought all the Civil War collection, every single tie-in. Then went on from that to read the other Marvel events. Then from the Marvel events to New Avengers, from New Avengers to more X-Men. Then over to the Ultimate line. And from the Ultimate line to even like more broad things like Daredevil, Amazing Spider-Man. I even read more X Factor, read more Marvel Knights, more Captain America, more Thor, more Hulk. And then, very recently, I was put on to DC by you, Mr. Ollie.
Yeah, I was about to say, which brings me swiftly over to how I got into comics, which was by you with Civil War.
Yep.
Ironically. I didn't really understand the significance of Civil War or anything like that. But I recently reread it, and I suddenly realised, like, this is the reason. And despite the fact that, well, as you know, I am a bigger fan of DC and more of the new stuff like that, it did remind me how great Marvel was, and it really made me appreciate why I actually got into comics in the first place.
It's
Ironically, it was because of my girlfriend who borrowed it from you, wasn't it?
Yeah. Because basically, me and Ollie, the single bros that there are, and Mr. Oliver bagged himself a good one.
Well,
Yeah,
and looking at this and hearing us say she's a good one, but
and essentially, Ollie's girlfriend wanted to get into comic books, and Ollie was like, "Where should we start, Pat?" And as far as I'm concerned, there's a place where I started, there's a place where Ollie started, and now's the place where Sarah should start, and it all works.
There's that, but I suppose that's the hardest bit is kind of looking back, and after all the comics we've read, you have to sort of realise, well, what we read now, is that really accessible for like all the other people? We have to mention that the first one that we actually lent her for accessibility, we said would be Earth One and New Avengers Breakout.
Yeah. We started off on them, and then Civil War has been reasonably recently, but I think was important to kind of be in the first wave of comic books that she read.
Yeah, to be within the first wave of them, definitely.
Yeah, because it's something that is both important to me as a comic book reader, important to you as a comic book reader, and is a major turning point in the Marvel universe and really modern writing as a whole in comic books. The whole idea of big crossover events has come from Civil War.
Yeah, exactly, and Bendis does a really great job of it. But speaking of Bendis, let's just quickly talk about, because I want to hear your ideas about Age of Ultron, and do you think that's a bold move? Do you think it was even a good move from Joss Whedon to do the films?
Okay, so we're talking about the recent Comic-Con news that Bendis' storyline, The Age of Ultron, is the name of the new Avengers sequel.
Yeah, which to me seems a little bit bold. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It seems an interesting move, but I think it very much depends on how much they tend to go with the new storyline, because a lot of fans, from what I've heard, are not particularly big on the Age of Ultron. It's an alternative storyline, from what I understand, and it seems a bit strange. But at Comic-Con, Joss Whedon said, we're going to do something, it's going to be called the Age of Ultron, but it's not really going to be much like the comic book. We're cherry-picking some of the best bits from that. We're not going to have Hank Pym, so there's going to be no Ant-Man, no Giant Man. So I am assuming that it's going to be Tony Stark creating Ultron, and
probably.
Yeah, as he's the main kind of technological guy on the team.
Well, Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, well, exactly. So I think it will be. I think as a second movie, it's probably going to be good, because they're going to have the setup of Avengers Tower, the setup of the Quinjets, the Avengers technology that comes with being an Avenger, and I think to have a technological based villain probably is a good move.
I'm sorry, I have to stop you there. It genuinely sounded like you said Quinjet then, so I just thought I'd point that out to you.
You're muling Quim.
But yeah, exactly. But I know where you're coming from, back on track. I do know where you're coming from, and hopefully this will all lead into good things, Civil War. Well, I'm hoping it will anyway.
Well, there's a lot of things bubbling under the surface there on whether or not it could happen. I mean, you've got both Andrew Garfield and Hugh Jackman have made comments that they would love to appear in a crossover movie of sorts.
But it's not up to them.
The studios are not keen. The studios are not keen at all to do that, because splitting revenue is not their style.
You and me have always sort of agreed that one of the biggest factors to the reason why Marvel are being dragged down. They're doing a fantastic job, but they could be doing an even greater job if the bloody producers are
the producers, the financial side, the bureaucracy. It's just it's an uphill battle for all of them. It really is.
They could achieve so much more if they were just given what they wanted and given them characters. And I don't know. It's just a funny one, really.
Definitely.
I mean, it would be such a good thing, though, if they could get Andrew Garfield on side. I think it would really, really be great.